Right. Good evening. Today we want to demonstrate how we can perform um, the creation of tables using SQL statements. But at the same time, we will be using the local DB. The local DB is a lightweight for SQL Server. We have the SQL Server, which we may use the SQL Server Management Studio, which is the full version for us to access it. But this one, the local DB, will access it from the Visual Studio. When you install your Visual Studio, if you install all the packages, all the components of Visual Studio, you will also include the local DB. It will be part of in parts of the what of the installed components. So for us to see or to access it, we normally go to the view, we go select the what, the Server Explorer, like this. Then after selecting the Server Explorer, we go to the data connections, we right click, or we have got two ways of doing it. We can right click the data connections and add connection, or we can click this symbol which has got a what, a plug in the database. Even this one connect to server, but this one connect to a database. But I prefer this one, add connection. Right. So this one was once used for connection, and it was used for the local database, the local DB, which is the one which we are going to use today. So, but before using it, you are supposed to reach this interface. So you need to select Microsoft SQL Server database file. This one, the one which is selected, is the one which you are supposed to select. You click OK. You click browse. Then you are prompted to choose the file, the MDF file, which is not in existence. So I said wherever I talk about this, I prefer the drive C. Probably look for database, then you give the database name here. You see, these are some of the example of databases which I created, which are in drive C. So we want to create a new one which is not existing on this one. Well, let's call this one, you can call it demo DB for the sake of demonstration. Right, open like that. Then we click. If the database is in existence, obviously if you click test connection, we will be able to see a test connection succeeded. But if this database is not in existence, like in this scenario, if you click that test connection, we will receive a message that the database does not exist. So we click OK. Again, if you click OK, you're going to be told that the database does not exist. So do you like to create it? Obviously, yes, we want to create it. So the demo DB has been what? Has been created. Right, since it has been created, fine, which is good. We want to create tables. The tables which we want to create, I think we want to create tables, suppliers table. On the suppliers table, we have supplier or sub ID. We have supplier name. We have supplier address. Right. These are some of the, these are the, then we have another table, products, which we have product ID, product name, probably price, probably prod, not prod, but sub ID, which is a secondary key. because here the product ID is the primary key, the product ID and the sub ID is the primary key on this. So it means this one is a foreign key. So whenever you are given tables like this, because some may have a challenge on trying to come up with the tables like the ones given in this scenario, that we have the suppliers, we have the products. Imagine, of course, this the way I put it, I started with suppliers, but sometimes you may have first encounter the products, then you encounter the suppliers. It's impossible for you to first create the product before creating the suppliers, because wherever you are creating a foreign key, what it means is the primary table should be created first, then the secondary table will be created thereafter. So that's what we are going to do. We will first create the suppliers table, then from there we proceed to create the products table. Then we reference the sub ID, we reference it to the suppliers sub ID. In that scenario, we would have what created the foreign key, which was requested by one of our colleagues. Right, so like what we are supposed to do, we are now on the demo DB. We right click tables, we select add table. Right, it's loading, it's taking ages. I don't know what's going on here. It is not supposed to take ages like what it's doing. Waiting. It is not supposed to take ages like this. I don't know what's going on. But let's just give it time. Taking ages. Right, it took so much time. I don't know what was going on here. It was supposed to take that much time. Anyway, let's sub ID, like what you may say. This is int, this is a primary key. If you want, you can make it auto increment. It can increment on its own. So if you want to make it a auto increment, you use what you call identity. Then we have to give the seed and the increment. So the seed, that's the starting point. The increment is the value at which it is going to add from the current value to the next value. That's the auto increment. That's how you use auto increment on SQL Server. It's the same when you're using even SQL Server, the full version, or the local DB, which we are using currently. Right. The next one was supplier name and supplier address. Supplier name, capital letter N. And this one is a variable character. Yes. Probably you may want to have the supply names which you take about up to 60. You can say no no null values. Then we have supply address, varchar, can put probably to 200. Yes, you can not allow now because the supply must have a what? Must have the address. Right, this is the SQL statement which is required mostly by examiners. If the candidates are being required to use SQL statements to create the table. If someone uses this SQL statement only, this table will be also created. Right, so we select update. I hope it will not take ages like what it did last year on creating this one, because I don't know what's happening with this. It's taking ages. Update the database. Yes, you're supposed to have this green circle with a white tick inside, which shows that we have successfully created this table. Even if you go here, if you come here and right click and select refresh, you see the table with the what? With the columns, right? Now we want to add another table, which is products now. Because we have already opened this one, now it cannot take ages like what it did. Products, right? The first one is product ID, product ID, the primary key. If you want it to be identity, you can add it, but if you don't want, you can leave it like that. Second one is product name, product name. Right, this one is varchar, a variable character. Probably it may take up to 30 or 40, not 400 but 40. And price, so I prefer decimal 18.02, because price, if you use currency, it becomes a challenge. Sometimes you'll not be able to perform some calculations. Then sub ID, remember on that one it was int, it must have the same word, the same type. So, and since it's related, you can remove allow now. Don't know why. Yeah, fine, something like this. Then here we need to reference now this one, because it's a foreign key, so we need to specify that this is a foreign key, and the reference is what? Reference is supplier, suppliers sub ID. Reference is suppliers. Just to say something like yes, this is the supplier which is referencing DB or unnamed constraint DB products and reserved object suppliers. Is supposed to have this sub ID. A field is supposed to be used with the square brackets like this, right? On update, cascade. It's not picking. It's picking up. Cascade. So it's int, this one is int. What's the problem? This apply. The sub ID like this. On delete cascade, on update cascade. Right, you can even go down, it's not a problem. Right, the major problem which we faced is I wrote suppliers, that's why it's not visible. It's supposed to be suppliers, not it's suppliers. It's double PIEI. Still, where is the problem? Because as it's references suppliers. Right, where's the problem? Not proceed to validation, incorrect sub ID. What is the name? It's SUPID. This one is correct. Suppliers on delete cascade, on update cascade. Update cascade on let me not reinforce the integral to check where's the problem here. Saying it's complaining, we put these brackets for it not to complain, and then cascade on update cascade, on delete cascade. Right, So this one now, it shows that we have reference to the, so the major problem which we faced is the issue of the name. This name suppliers instead of suppliers is the one which was making our table not to be like what it was supposed to be. Let's update our table. Right, we update the database. So with this we have created the foreign key. The foreign key has been created with this line. This is the line. This created the foreign key, and these two lines has enforced the referential integrity. That's how we are supposed to create the what? The foreign key. And if you want to add data there, you need to first add data to the suppliers table. Notice I wrote it wrongly. Instead of suppliers, I wrote it as suppliers. That's why I faced challenges in connecting the two. But otherwise, I managed to identify that that's where the problem was, and I corrected it, and it's now okay. I think for the sake of just being able to check or to make two tables to be connected using the foreign key, that's how we do it. I thank you. Don't forget the usual thing.